Let's discuss about the important concept that is called hybridization. Hybridization is that is called mixing of the orbitals. In one word, we are going to tell like this. So let's take a definition here. The process of mixing of the orbitals of slightly different or comparable energies and redistribution of their energies, resulting in the formation of the new set of variety of the orbitals of equivalent energies and shape. So that is called hybridization. So here, that is in one words, we can tell that the atomic orbitals before they are going to form a hybridization, they are going to involving. So means they are going to mixing the energies and shapes and their size also. So there, whatever the result that is coming as a totally, completely new set of the different orbitals are having the same energies, shape and size also. So this is about the hybridization. So let's take the types. How many types will be there in the hybridization? So there will be mainly five will be there. So sp hybridization, sp2 hybridization, sp3 hybridization, sp3d hybridization, and sp3d square hybridization. So it tells that sp means using the s orbital and p orbital. Here sp2 means s and 2 p orbitals. 3 p orbitals and 1 s, and here 3 p orbitals, 1 d orbitals along with 1 s orbital. Similarly, here 3 p orbitals, 2 d orbitals, and along with the singly occupied so s orbital. So this is about the types of hybridization. Let's take the brief about this hybridization. So before going to this one, let's study the what are the main features of this hybridization. So according to the definition, it tells that we are going to obtain the same energy shape, equivalent energies and equal shape we are going to obtain here, right? So first let's discuss here the number of hybrid orbitals formed that must be an equal to the total number of atomic orbitals. So in order to forming the hybridization, so two different or more atoms, their orbitals, two or more different kind of the orbitals of the atoms, they are going to be utilizing for the energies, consuming the energy to make a new set of the variety of orbitals, that is called hybridization. So there must be containing the atomic orbitals, that is total number of atomic orbitals that must be equal to the hybrid orbitals. Second one, outermost shell only participate, the electrons which are within the outermost orbital, we are going to call outermost shell or valence shell electrons, they are going to be, those orbitals are going to be utilization for the hybridization, they only participate in it. And should have almost same energy, obviously they should have almost same energy and dash point also same, the all hybrid orbitals are of the same energy, size and shape should be the same, should be there. And next point, the atomic orbital with unpaired electrons, I mean unpaired means singly electron or off-filled orbitals also we can tell, or full-filled. Full-filled is paired electrons. Means off-filled means like this. In orbital, if you write like this is called off-filled orbital or singly occupied orbital or unpaired electrons. So if you write like this is called paired electrons in the orbital, paired or fully filled orbitals. Or even an empty orbitals like this, even it is an empty orbitals also can going to be participate in the hybridization. So this is about the features of the hybridization and its types and its definition. Let's start the first one, that is called sp hybridization. So here mixing of the one s orbital and one p orbital to become a two equivalent or hybrid orbitals, that is called sp. So here the percentage character wise, s will be 50% character and p will be the 50% character. So total will be the 100% character will be takes place here. So this is the s orbital along the 3 axis, p orbital along the 3 axis x, y, z. So forming the hybrid orbitals like this will be there. So this will be the oriented in the opposite direction. So the angle should be 180 degree, and this is the name we are going to call as the linear. The sp hybridization containing the molecules, they are always like this will be there, linear. Let's take an example for this one, that is called beryllium chloride. So beryllium chloride is an example for the linear structure. Let's take the hybridization here. You know the beryllium here, what is the ground state of this beryllium? It is called 4 electrons will be there, right? So 1s2, 2s2, its configuration here. But what happens, you know that this beryllium hydrogen, so in order to make a bond with 2 chloride, there must be containing the unpaired electrons, right? But here the electrons should be paired. So that's why, so now we are going to take this excitation state of this beryllium. I mean, we are going to acquire some energy. So then only this is going to the excited state. So this is called ground state. Now we are going to write in the excited form. So what happens? And here also 2p orbitals, there will be no electrons containing in this orbital, right? So now this is the stable one, so we have to take this one. So now we are going to applying some energy, so whatever it goes to excitation to become, here comes it comes to here 2p orbital, and this is 2s orbital of the beryllium. So now these unpaired electrons, now they are ready to make a bond with the two chlorine atoms, right? So because this chlorine contains, when you write this electron configuration, Cl means it's containing 17 electron. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. In order to make a bond with this chlorine, so this chlorine is a shortage of one electron to become a stable. So that's why, so one of the s orbital from the beryllium atom, which is going to make a bond with this p orbital, that is called mixing of the orbitals with s and p here. So that requires one electron for the chlorine, right? So how many atoms will be there? Two chlorine atoms will be there. So that's why this is called, this one electron goes to here and this one electron goes to here, because two chlorine atoms will be there. So each chlorine atom requires one electron. So this is called it is going to acquire one electron from 2s orbital and one electron from the 2p orbitals. Like this, they are going to make a bond here. So the structure will be like this will be there. So now we are going to write the beryllium chloride as like this. So this is the structure of the beryllium chloride. Its bond angle should be 180 degree. It is a linear. So this is called sp hybridization. Sp means, so mixing of the orbitals, here s and p, right? So also you can tell that, so it is a vacant space will be there, only unpaired electrons will be there. So these chlorine atoms give to the one electron to this one. So now it becomes like this. They are going to make a bond with like this. So this is called sp hybridization of the beryllium chloride. Let's discuss about the sp2 hybridization. sp2 means here the mixing of the one s orbital and 2p orbitals become three equivalent hybrid orbitals here. So this is called s orbital and p orbitals. They are going to make a sp2 hybridization orbital. So here the s containing the character potential of the 33.3% of the character, and remaining 66.7% character will be involved by the p orbitals. So here, so these three corners, the orbitals are going to be occupied directly towards the three corners of the equilateral triangle here. So this is name is called trigonal planar. The geometry of the sp2 hybridization will be trigonal planar. Let's take one example for this one. That is called boron trichloride. So once again, boron here, ground state, you know this one, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p1, right? 2p1 will be there. So this is the completely filled listed. We are not bothering about this one. Only this is the 2s2 and 2p1 orbital will be there. So here this boron, which is going to make a bond with the chlorine atom, as a 3 bonds is required, but here one vacant will be there. So one which is going to make a bond with the chlorine atom. But what about this one? So this is the ground state. So in order to make a 3 bond, we are going to require the 3 unpaired electrons here. So that's why it is called, this is the ground state of the boron atom. Now we are going to write in the excited state. Yes, excited state of this boron atom. What happens? This electron jumps to the next orbital. That is called 2s orbital, which is contained now only one unpaired electron. Now this 2p1 become 2p2 electrons, which are going to be filled in these orbitals. So now these 3 unpaired electrons, which are going to be utilization for the bond with the chlorine atom, that is called, or also these 1 electron from 2s and 2 electrons from 2p orbitals, which are going to make an overlap with the p orbitals of the chlorine atom. So now we are going to write the structure of the boron trichloride as like this. This is called boron. Boron is the central atom here. This is chlorine and these 2 chlorine. So this is a if you consider the equilateral triangle here, the 3 corners should be occupied by the 3 chlorine atoms of an equilateral triangle, and here bond angle should be Cl bond angle should be 120 degree. So that's why the structure is called trigonal planar. So this is about the sp2 hybridization. Let's discuss about the third one, that is called sp3 hybridization. It means here the mixing of the one s orbital and 3 p orbitals to give the 4 equivalent hybrid orbitals. So here the percentage of the s character will be 25% character for the s and remaining 75% character for the p orbital when compared to the 100%, right? So this is about the sp3 hybridization. Means the central atom will be the, this is suppose if I take the example, that is called methane compound. Methane. So you know the center atom is carbon. So this we are going to consider as the carbon atom. So here the carbon electronic configuration, you know this one general formula. So 1s2, 2s2, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, right? Like this 2p orbital, right? So 2 electrons will be in the s orbital and 2 electrons in the p orbitals. But this carbon, in order to make a bond with the 4 hydrogen atoms, 4 unpaired electrons are required here. So already 2p orbitals, a single electron should be occupied, right? So now we are going to write in the excited state of the carbon atom, that becomes only 1 electrons will be remain in the 2s orbital, and this electron which is going to excite to form this pz orbital. So now this becomes the 3 single electrons in the 3 respective orbitals, that is called px, py, pz. So this is called 2s orbital, this is called 2p orbital. Like this hybridization is going to be involved here. I mean that one hydrogen containing the 1s1 electron which may enter into here to make a hybrid orbital. So like this, to make it like this will be there. So that's why this is called mixing of the s and p orbitals, that we are going to call as the sp3 hybridization. So finally we are going to write the structure for this methane as carbon is the center atom. So this is called hydrogen and this is called hydrogen. So the bond angle should be around 109.5 degree for the tetrahedral geometry. So 109.5 degree. So this is the bond angle for this one. Let's take one more very important example for this sp3 hybridization. So that is called the ammonia. So this is called the ammonia. So let's write the ammonia. For the center atom is nitrogen. So we should write the ground state electrons. So that is called 2s2. 1s2 is stable. We are not going to consider here. 1s2, 2s2, 2p3 here. I mean single electrons in the 3 respective suborbitals px, py and pz orbitals should be there. This is 2p. But here what happens? So nitrogen which is going to make a bond with the 3 hydrogen atoms, means 3 unpaired electrons are required. So according to their ground state, so these 3 unpaired electrons which are sufficient to make a bond with the 3 hydrogen atoms. So these remaining orbitals we are going to call as the non-bonded electrons, because these electrons which are going to be involved in the bond formation, right, like this. They are going to utilization for the bond formation with the nitrogen, these hydrogen atoms, right? So these are called as the bonded electrons because of this formation of this ammonia bond, and these 2 electrons we are going to call as the non-bonded. Non-bonded means they are not going to be involved in the bonding formation, they are going to call as the lone pair of electrons. That's why ammonia we should be always having the lone pair of electrons on the nitrogen atom. So this is the structure of the ammonia. But what about the bond angle? So when you look at about the methane compound, that is also same sp3 hybridization. What happens due to the 4 corners of the tetrahedron, the bond angle comes to the 109.5 degree, right? So here, due to the presence of this lone pair of electrons on the nitrogen atom, that causes the repulsion. So that's why here bond angle goes up, decreases to 107 degree. So because of this presence of the lone pair of electrons. So let's discuss about the sp3 hybridization. So here the mixing of the 1s orbital and 3 p orbitals and 1 d orbital. So that type of sp3 hybridization we are going to call as the TBP, means trigonal bipyramidal. Let's take an example for this one. It is called PCl5, phosphorus pentachloride. So here the center atom is phosphorus. You know the ground state. So the ground state of this phosphorus would be the 15 atomic number. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. So like 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10, 10 plus 2, 12. So 12 plus 3, 15. So it is contained the 15 atomic number. These are called the completely filled shells. That's why we are not going to bother about this one. Only we are going to take this one. That is called 3s2 and 3p6. That is 3p3 orbitals here. You know this one. This phosphorus making a 5 bonds with the chlorine. But here what about the unpaired electrons? Only 3 are unpaired electrons will be there. What about d orbitals? Here the d orbital is vacant orbital here. Because D is a vacant orbital, so this is a 3p3 will be there. Only 3 bonds which is going to make a bond with chlorine atoms, right? But what about this one? So in order to make a 5 bonds, with the chlorine atoms, it requires the 5 unpaired electrons. So that's why we are going to give the energy for this one. Now the excitation state of this phosphorus is continuing. So one of the electron from this orbital, which is going to moving towards the next vacant orbital like this. Now this is containing the 3s2 become now 3s1, and now this p is p orbital which is not going to be disturbed as it is here, it will be there, which is not going to be disturbed here, and one electron which is going to enter into the d orbital. Now this is called sp3d hybridization, like this will be there. Here the phosphorus will be the central atom. So let's write the structure of this one. So this is called phosphorus atom. So this phosphorus which is going to attach with the, so 3 chlorine atoms which are directed towards the 3 corners of the triangle. So this is the looks like a triangle here. So remaining 2 chlorine bonds which are going to make a bond with phosphorus as a perpendicular to each other. So these are called as the equatorial bonds. So these are called the equatorial bonds, and these are called the axial bonds. Or similarly, we are going to make like this. So this is called TBP. It looks like a trigonal bipyramidal. This is called TBP. Or also we are going to write like this. Or you can do like this only. So this is called PCl5. So here in the PCl5 bond angles all are not equal here. Why? Because they are not equal. Because here the 3 chlorine atoms which are going to occupy the space as a 3 corners of the triangle and 2 for the axial. So these are called as the equatorial bonds, and this equatorial bond should be 120 degree. It will be there, and these perpendicular bonds becomes the 90 degree. So when you look at this. And look at this one, chlorine, phosphorus, chlorine, that becomes 90 degree. And when you look at this one, phosphorus, chlorine, this chlorine, phosphorus, chlorine, it becomes 120 degree. So that's why in PCl5, that is sp3 hybridization, all the bond angles are not equal, because so these we are going to call as the equatorial bonds, and these are called the axial bonds. So these axial bonds gets more repulsion from these equatorial bonds. That's why it looks like axial bonds looks like a longer, but they are weaker than the equatorial bond. So this is about the sp3 hybridization. Let's take the last one, that is called sp3d square hybridization. We are going to take an example for the SF6 molecule here. So here the center atom is s orbital. So S means sulfur, it's containing the 16. So we are going to write the 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p4. So 10 plus 2, 12 plus 4, 16, right? Center atom is sulfur. So we are going to write the ground state. So these are the completely filled shells. Only we are going to bother about this one. So that is called 3s2. This is called 3s2. And now we are going to write the 3p4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here the sulfur contains the 6 bonds to make a bond with fluorine atoms. So it requires 6 unpaired electrons, but only 2 unpaired electrons are available. So now we are going to apply the energy that becomes excitation energy. So now we are going to write as the these electrons. I mean here containing the d5 orbitals, right? So those are the vacant orbitals. Now we are going to move the electrons towards this d orbitals like this. We are going to move the 2 electrons from the respective orbitals. So this electron moves to the 1 orbital and this electron moves to the d orbital. So like this, sp3d square. sp3d square. How many orbitals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbitals are going to be known here. So that is called 1 s orbital and 3 p orbital and 2 orbitals. They are going to be involved mixing to become a 6 equivalent hybrid orbitals. I mean each fluorine atom containing the, this is called overlapping of these orbitals with the p orbitals of the fluorine atoms. We are going to apply the structure that is called SF6, and here all the bond angles will be 90 degree. So this is about the octahedral structure.